Hello, welcome to another episode of the Eventual Knits podcast. My name is Leah. I use she, her pronouns, and you can find me as Miss_LJV on Instagram and Eventual on Ravelry. Today is Friday the 13th of October 2023. What a perfect day for such a spooky podcast episode. So today is going to be very spooky knits mostly. It's really all I'm working on right now. So the first thing I'm so excited to be able to share with you today is the last day of the Haunted House Cowl or Mystery Knit Along that Stephanie Lotvin of Telly Bean Knits is putting on for her mystery cowl. I hear that it was a blast for everyone who participated, and that it was a very accessible pattern, and I was very happy to test it. So I'm wearing my mystery cowl. Well, it's not a mystery anymore, but you know, I'm trying to stretch it. So this is like how you can wear a cowl like this. So I love these cowls because they're closed, so I don't have to worry about tying them or them coming undone. I remember when I first saw cowls, like Stephanie takes pictures like this a lot, and I was like, how do you wear that? Like, you can't see anything, but it actually ends up working out really nicely. So I'm gonna take it off for a little bit. So it was, I think 13 clues, right? 13 days, and they all had like a cute little like gimmick, cute little like, now you're entering the haunted house or whatever. So the first clue was, oh, hold on. Got a little pulled stitch here. Just heard my kids sneeze instead of sleeping. All right, first clue was spiders. I would say this one's my favorite clue. These were knit on 3s or 4s, I think, maybe 5s. Let's see. I used a Chowgu needle, of course, because they're my needle of choice. Yes, 3s, US 3s. Okay, so my favorite clue, honestly, I think was the first one. I just think the spiders were so cute and clever, and they were easy and fun to make. And also this like silver gray is just a beautiful color. The next clue, it was baubles. I did terribly at these baubles, to be honest. Just like the way that she had us do them, it was a very normal way of doing baubles. I don't know if it was the yarn or if it was the needles, but I had a lot of trouble with them, and I don't typically have trouble with baubles. But these were, okay, so clue 2 is Witch's Eye, so that was the baubles. Clue 3 was cauldrons. So some little cabling. You can do it without a cable needle or with a cable needle. I chose to do it without a cable needle. I know they end up looking a little bit different, I think, whether you do it with or without a cable needle, just in terms of like how your tension is. But I love cabling without a cable needle when I can get away with it. So before I move on, all of the colors in this are from a set. I don't know what set. They were just all together. They didn't have tags. I'm sure I bought them at like a Zombie Knit Apocalypse or something, but I don't know what yarn they are, but it is beautiful. I love this yarn. It's so like rich and in-depth, except for this. This was not part of the set, and it's still my least favorite color, but it grew on me. It was recommended that you pick a green, and I felt like this green was the closest like tonally to the rest of the colors, but it's obviously much flatter than the rest of the colors. Anyway, these were Witch's Brooms. Another fun stitch. Mine ended up getting a little muddy because the very first iteration of the pattern had you doing 4 wraps, and she changed it to do 3, so it's a little bit cleaner. But I did 4, and so the broomstick or the broom brushies ended up being a little bit wider or like gappier, but still very cute. Of course, the next clue was bats. I love the tonal differences in the gray. Super, super fun. I love the up, down of the bats. This clue, what is that clue? It's another eye. Is it a different eye? Yeah, eyeballs. And little eyeballs. Those were fun and easy. And again, the purple and the gray together is just so good. And then pumpkins, that orange. Do you see that orange though? And then this little bit was fangs, like vampire fangs. Very clever. Then ghosts. And then these little things were supposed to be tombstones. Adorable. Then of course, a poison as the final one. So that is fun. And then the final clue for today was the ribbing at the end. So that is the Haunted House cowl. It's very cute. I've worn it several times already in public. Because then of course no one is gonna see me and be like, oh my god, what's that pattern? But I'm very happy to be able to share it. I made an Instagram post earlier today. And Stephanie followed me on Instagram finally. It's been years. We've seen each other in person. I know I've gushed about this a few times. At Zombie Knit Apocalypse, like I end up hanging out with their group. But I remember the very, very first time I saw her in 2019, I think. I was like starstruck. I was like staring at her from across the room, like being like, Steve, oh my god, it's Stephanie. and then like when she's like talking to me and I'm like sweating, I'm like, oh my god, she's addressing me. I can get like really socially awkward about those things. And it's been really fun to see her whenever I go to ZK. I didn't go this year. Oh, I guess I'm probably not going to go next year. I mean, I can, just not, I can go to the market, but not overnight, because those tickets end up going on sale typically in September, and our budget is super tight right now with daycare and student loans coming, the student loans coming due again this month. I pay my car insurance every 6 months. My car insurance coming due. Like this October is just a rough financial month. So I knew that was coming. I guess I do have money in savings that I specifically have earmarked for like fun things, but I wasn't sure where we'd be at next year. So I did not buy ZK tickets for next year, but I could still visit if I wanted to. It's not that far from here. It's like an hour, little more than that from drive from here. I know the very first year that I made friends and went, I drove down every day. I just didn't stay. Oh, no, that was was that 2021? Yes, 2021. I bought tickets to ZK and all the events, but I did not get a hotel room because it didn't feel like it mattered. Like, I live close enough, but I understand the experience too of like being able to hang out with people and staying up late and, you know, just being around all the time. So I might do that in the future. So yeah, that's my haunted house cowl. That is, I think, my only, well, that's my only like true finished object. My sort of finished object are my vanilla socks. So I have one inside out right now, so it's not quite finished. I mean, the like main part is finished, but I'm doing a little experiment where I am trying to, I folded over the hem and I am just sort of tacking down, like I'm just picking up and going around the cuff to see if I can have it sort of be a fold over cuff. So let's see what it looks like. I'm only like a third of the way done, but it'll end up looking like this and being a little thicker. Does that matter? I don't know. Because I didn't do a provisional cast on or anything, so we'll see if that ends up being like really annoying to wear or if it will be cute. And then yeah, I'll update you next time. But I can't find one of the balls of the yarn to actually tack down. I might need to just use scrap yarn because I know I threw away the remainder of I think the one from this, I threw that away, so I don't know about this. Yeah, but these are my vanilla socks. This is a Knit Circus yarn. Again, I don't know what the yarn is for these. Yeah, that's all I finished, but oh, that's not true. I also finished my very first Musselburgh hat. I started and finished it within a couple days. I mean, it didn't take that long to knit. So the Musselburgh hat is by Isolde Teague, and this is what it looks like open. So you do I think she called it an invisible cast on. It was a new cast on that I learned, and then you do increases, you knit the body, and then you do decreases. And this is yarn that I bought on a whim last weekend when I was at Mall of America. So there's a crochet store. It's called Crochet, but it's a knit and crochet store. And when it first opened, it was just very basic, didn't have a ton of stuff. It didn't have stuff that I was personally interested in. It only had commercial yarns, and so just not my thing. And not that I'm against commercial yarns, but I am a Barocco stan. So anyway, so I happened to stop in just because, and they have a section that's promoting that like yarn's soft for babies. And so I was like, oh hey, I'll just buy this like really nice purple and knit up a hat. And I struck up a conversation with the girl working there, and we ended up like talking for like hours. Normally when I go to the mall, on Sundays, I do some knitting and some walking, and I ended up just sitting there. They have a little table and stuff. I should have taken a video of the store. I did not even think about that. But I just sat at a table, and she pulled a chair around and we talked. She has I think 16-month-old, and so we had a lot of we just swapped stories about having kids, and she's much younger than me, but has a lot of life experience with a baby. So it was like, it's funny when you're so much older than somebody to be like, damn, I've lived so much life, more than you. But it was just cool, and like she's very knowledgeable, of course, about crafts, and we got to gossip a little and about local yarn things. And hi Olivia, if you're watching. Yeah, it was really cool. So it's like now on Sundays, if I want to sit and chat with someone, I would go and hang out with Olivia at the mall. But yeah, this is the Musselburgh. So I started this while we were there, and I learned that new cast on. And so the way that you put the hat together is you tuck one end in, and then like it can become just like, it can become a beanie, or it can fold up. And so I'll put some pictures in over here of Quinn wearing it. I have a small head, and Quinn has a pretty big head, but I assume that all babies have big heads. I think it's a little too shallow, maybe, but it is definitely like circumference wise too big. I am so bad at knitting hats. Again, remember last video I said I don't swatch. This is the consequences of my decisions, but I just need to maybe knit a little bit less stitches or a little bit smaller. But this is his little Musselburgh. Cute. But yeah, he wore it on a walk. It does, I mean, he can wear it, just have to tuck it up, otherwise it like falls down over his eyes. So cute. Adorable. Yeah, we took him on a walk to the nature center the other day. He's in this really weird spot where my baby's name is Quinn. Quinn's in a really weird spot where he doesn't want to take 3 naps, but also can't stay awake long enough to only take 2 most of the time. And he's been really struggling to sleep very long at daycare because it's so noisy and it's bright, and yeah, it's just, it's tough. And so we always try to, when we pick him up, do things for the rest of his last wake window to keep him up before putting him down so that he is not completely miserable and crabby at home and bored, you know, of everything. So we do things like go to the mall and walk around, and it's been really nice that it's been getting dark these days and being kind of rainy, because then all the lights are really bright in Nickelodeon Universe, and we've been walking through there. And he's really into like watching the roller coasters and hearing people scream and just seeing what all the kids are doing. But one of the things we did this week was, it was nice enough to go to the nature center, which is like a mile from our house. And so we walked around there, and that was really fun for us. And the leaves are changing, and he's really just interested in putting the leaves in his mouth, which is fine, but he can't eat them. That's where we draw the line. No eating the leaves, thank you. But yeah, that's all I've finished. I am also working on a couple of things. I'm very like prolifically working on things right now, just like sort of churning through them, and I'm in a very knitty place. I have made progress on my I'm gonna say real quick, I don't remember what yarn this is. I don't think I have the tag for it. Yeah, I do not. But anyway, I have made progress on my version of the Boneyard Sweethearts sweater. So I am knitting this on the recommended size 5s. And this yarn is Fiber Nymph Dye Works Mountain Tweed. This is Onyx Fiber Arts. It was like everything was purple, or it was all purple or something. This is Lion Brand DIY Glow, and this is a Barocco. So yeah, since last week, I have knit from here on down. So I'm on the leg bones and finishing up the hands, and that means the ghosts will start soon. So there is actually an option in the pattern to do hearts instead of ghosts, but I do ghosts. The ghosts are so cute. Yeah, I'm looking at Sean's right now. The ghosts are adorable. So I'm making progress. I'm, I would say, a little more than halfway done with the yoke. I will definitely finish this before Halloween. I shouldn't say definitely. I will hopefully finish this before Halloween. And yes, this pattern is by Stephanie Lotvin of Telly Bean Knits, and I highly encourage you get it. I am so excited to be working on it ever. Like, I finished Sean's, I'm working on mine, and I am going to start one for my mom as well. Mom, if you're watching, skip ahead a little bit. I'm trying to think. Maybe I'll put in, if you look in the description, a chapter from this sweater to the next thing that I'm working on. But for my mom, I got her some yarn for her sweater. So Mom, look away. 3, 2, 1. This yarn. So this is a rich red. This is going to be the main body color. I bought this purple. Yes-ish. This purple for the background of the skeletons. I'm going to use, and both of these are Barocco Vintage DK. And then I am going to use this Canon hand dyes. It's actually part of a gradient back here. See, it's actually a Little Women gradient here, like browns and tans. And this is Joe. And it is, it's the William Merino DK, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. And I'll use this for her skeletons. It's like, just like a nice sort of like beige, brown, tan color. And then for her accent, I'm actually going to use the same green that I used for Sean's. So this sort of like poison apple green. It's a little bit less, it's a little bit less bright than this is showing. The box light's really making it like rich. This is so rude that it's showing how vibrant this is. I feel like every time I try to capture green in a picture, like a lime green, it always washes out. Like I have such trouble, and it's like this perfect, like dark outside. Apparently my gross overhead lights plus the box light is just perfect for capturing. Oh, here we go. This is like the exact color it is. So yeah, that'll be the little swooshy accent. So, this is what yeah, that'll be a really pretty sweater. So I'm gonna make that size for my mom. It's so funny, I made the size 2 for Sean, I'm making the size 4 for me, and I'm making the size 3 for my mom. But I think that's the only, like, other than like socks maybe, and even then, I don't know. This might be the first pattern I've ever made 3 times. I've made a few patterns twice, but this is the first one for like the 3rd time, I think. So yeah, that is the Boneyard Sweethearts sweater by Stephanie Lavin. And lastly, I think, let me go to my project page here. Oh, not lastly, I have one more thing. Almost lastly. I am working on my Spooky Night beanie by Erin Gates in a Knit Circus yarn. It came in a kit. I did check after my last episode. The kit is sold out, so I think it was a dyed to order or like a pre-order. So I finished the hat. It knit up so quick. Like I think yesterday I was like here, and then I finished the whole hat in like 2 hours. So it's really nice knitting in worsted weight. So it's knit on size 8s, I believe. It was so fun. Look at this beautiful pattern, these little ghosty goats. And then the brim. So I live in Minnesota. It gets really cold here. Hats that are just knitted in a single layer, often like wind whips through them, and I have like really sensitive ears. Like I get that feeling where like when the wind whips through them, like they get really like sore on the inside. And so I wanted to add something on the inside, and I can't sew, and so I didn't want to do fleece, but I decided to get a fluffy yarn. Oh, the tag is over there. I don't know what kind of yarn it is, but it's one of those like really soft, bulky yarns. And I don't know what I'm doing, but I just, I folded the brim up to where I thought it would be, and then I counted like 3 or 4 rows down, and then I just picked up stitches all the way around and knit all the way around. And then I was like, is that gonna be too bulky? So I decreased a little bit. When I tried on the hat, this part was decently tight on my head, like on my ears, and then this is like loose and slouchy. And it comes with a pom-pom that I can hand sew like a little bit, like the most basic, but I'll get this on, and so it'll be a little pom-pom hat, but it's still slouchy. Like my head is quite small, so I don't know if this is gonna work, everyone. I don't know, but it's really soft. This is definitely warm and thick and bulky. And so I'm hoping that, similar to the Musselburgh, I can knit this the length of this, decrease, and then tuck it inside and wear it. So that is my hope. Everyone, like, pray for me, okay? Send out those positive thoughts of when you just make something up with knitting and then it works out, because that would be really nice for it to work out. And it's so squishy and warm. I actually did buy today at the yarn store, when I was buying my mom's yarn and buying this to do on the inside. This is what I've done today, like in, I don't know, like an hour's time. These cute little goat needle stoppers. Adorable. I typically don't use needle stoppers, but in very rare cases, like with silk and with something like this, where like if you drop a stitch, it's over. Like it's just over. Like it's gone forever. Sorry. It probably wouldn't go anywhere that much. Like it's not that big of a deal probably if you drop a stitch in this kind of material, but I would like to avoid it if possible. And so these get needle stoppers, thanks. I'm knitting this on a 16-inch size 8. What is this? What is this again? I always want to say Knit Picks, but it's not Knit Picks. It's isn't it just Pride? There's Pride needles. I've had these for a long time. So yeah, that was exciting. I highly recommend this pattern. It's so cute and quick to knit up. This yarn is Knit Circus yarns. Again, it was a kit, so it is the Sensible Mrs. Dashwood, which is the purple, Quoth the Raven, which is the black, and Creamy Sheep, which is the creamy white color. Oh, are these bats? I just realized that I was just like, oh, it's just like a whatever, you know, these are bats. Okay, that's adorable. I did not know they were bats. And then I assume these are supposed to kind of be like little skulls and crossbones. So cute. Adorable. The Spooky Night Beanie by Erin Gates. And lastly, in terms of what I'm working on, I have the beginning of a sock. So this is actually another Extreme Stripes yarn from Knit Circus. I think it's the Knit Sky. So Knit Circus has certain colors that they have in various, not even just various bases, but various like styles. So they have self-striping, they have gradients, they have and speckles. What do they call the speckles again? I can't. They call them something in particular, but anyway, this is what the Knit Sky imagined in a self-striping cake, but Extreme Stripes cake. So it's a sock set. It's a large sock set, so it has, I think, 150 grams, I think. And yeah, so I'm working toe up so I can try to use as much as possible for Steve. These are going to be for Steve's socks. He has size 14 US feet, so he has gigantic feet. And they're not just long, they're very wide. So I don't even know if I did this right in terms of like increasing. I just sort of like half read, you know, make your own sock pattern, because it's been so long since I've done toe up. And then I was like, yeah, okay, that sounds fine. And I did increase every row because that's what the pattern said to do. And I didn't think that hard about it. I was like, yeah, sure, cool. And so this is like the toe, I guess, up, and I'll just start knitting straight, even though I know when you do top down, you tend to decrease every other row, but whatever. We'll figure it out. If this doesn't end up looking the way that I want it to, I'll just knit the other sock differently, but I'm not concerned. He's not very picky at all. But this is what I have so far. So I did, what is it, Judy's Magic cast on for the stitches. Then I increased I did a knit front and back on, you know, the 1-2s, and then the opposite sides I did, it's like where you sort of knit it twisted, and then you pick up the stitch you just knit like one row down, you pick up the right leg and knit that, and apparently, and yeah, it makes it so it's like not gappy, and not, you don't see like little knots where you were doing the, like, similar to the knit front and back. So that was cool. That's interesting. I learned a new increasing technique. And now I'm just about to start like knitting the full body, or the main foot of the sock. I put a stitch marker just to delineate like the halfway point, and then of course the beginning of row. And yeah, this is my car knitting, so it's just going to grow as I knit in the car. I'm knitting this on a 9-inch circular size 1. Right now it's still really tight, but it will loosen up as I go. And I cast on, I think, 64 stitches, because Knit Circus yarn tends to be a little bit thicker than other yarns. If it's looking too narrow, I might increase it again to 68. depends on how loose I'm knitting, but yeah, so I'm excited. This is gonna be really pretty. Good socks for him. I love making socks for Steve. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. I'm doing a lot of things. I'm making a lot of progress on things, so it's very very motivating to do that. Yeah, feeling in a very knitty place. I am excited to work on socks for Christmas. As I mentioned in a previous podcast, I love knitting like holiday themed socks, especially for myself. But I put on a pair of my other socks, or like previously knitted socks. I have a whole drawer dedicated to previously knitted socks, and moths ate through both of the feet of them. Freaking moths. So we'll see if I decide to repair them, if I decide to just toss them. Like, it does not feel worth it to me to put a little patch on, because they seem to wear out again really fast anyway. So we'll see. Like, I'm very much a person that, like, once knitting is sort of falling apart or has been damaged, that I'm like, whatever, like, I did my best, and oops, I just undid this. There we go. Got my use out of it. Cool, you know, time to get rid of it. The only things that I haven't, like, I will not get rid of are my very first mystery knit along I did for Stephanie was the Till Death mitts, and they are also quite moth eaten. They have so many holes in them, but I still wear them. They're not even like super warm. Same thing with you know, they don't have like a liner, and so they're good for wearing, like, to hold onto a cold steering wheel, but like outside they wouldn't be as warm. But I still wear them. I knit them in 2018, I think, and I do not care. I love them so much. Like, multiple times I've thought I've lost a glove, and then I have always found it. Like, I think the last time that I thought I lost it, I had lost it in the parking garage of one of the buildings at work, and someone had found it, and then I assume we're like, oh my god, this is so nice, I bet the owner will probably really want it, and like they stuck it on like one of those, like, whatever, concrete U things, upside down U's that they have in the parking garage. And so when I left after my meeting, I was like, there it is. So yeah, but again, if I had lost it, that would have been okay, and I would happily knit that pattern again. I'm a better knitter than I was back then, and it was just super fun. It was the first time I ever did a Latvian braid, and I think the only time I guess I've used a Latvian braid in a pattern, but it was like so cool and so fun to learn, and the kits were gorgeous and so fun. So anyway, other things. Oh, again, like I said, I want to knit Quinn some sweaters. It's super funny to me that so many people really like knitting the flax by, I think, Tin Can Knits, right? Because I think it's like a pretty ugly sweater. Like, I don't like it at all. Like, I feel like they have other patterns that are really good, that I would rather knit. Oh, there was something I wanted to crochet. Did I mention it last time? My nephew mentioned that, or my nephew has been doing finger knitting. Like, that's like all the rage at his like before school program thing. He's 6, and so they've been doing a lot of finger knitting, and he knows that I knit, and he loves all my yarn, and the yarn that he's actually using for the finger knits is the yarn that is a yarn ball that I gave him like a couple years ago, or a year ago. Like, he was over and he asked if he could take it, and I was like, yeah, of course. And so he's been mentioning that he wants to learn how to knit, and knitting, requires a decent amount of dexterity, small motor control, but I do know that, like, in countries in Europe, that they do teach children, like small children, how to knit, and like historically children have knit, so I know it's possible. You just have to like be patient. So I sort of imagine like he will pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down. But I also am really interested in teaching him how to crochet, since crochet not only just requires a single hook, which I think can be easier, I also feel like it's more forgiving than knitting, because you're literally only working with one live stitch at a time. Like, it's like more forgiving in that way, and then less forgiving in like if you make a mistake really far down, you can't just drop that one row down. So that's a little unfortunate, but I was thinking that I could also teach him to crochet also, or I'm not sure, because then he could learn how to make really small, simple amigurumi, get those sort of like instant gratification projects, and then like work from there. I think that would be really cute. And like, I didn't make this was a gift, but oh my god. See, I would like to learn how to do this, but it also, when I'm touching it and how like firm it is, I'm like, oh, my fingers hurt just imagining. But look at my little black mage, my little Vivi. But you know, like stuff like that would be really cute. So we'll see if I end up doing that. I would love to just give him something to do and work on it. Ooh, I bought 2 crochet, that's what it is. I bought 2 crochet patterns yesterday. I could not help it, and I was a sucker for both of them. They both sent me coupons for their, because I favorited their items, they sent me coupons for to buy their patterns, and so I bought them because I was really excited about it. I guess I should have checked to see if they had Ravelries so I could buy it on Ravelry, but that's okay. So the first one I bought, I favorited, first I want to say I favorited this yarn, and I feel like this yarn is like it's not doing it justice. Let's see if it has a sample. It does not. So I favorited this yarn by Haverland, which is it's so funny. I was watching a Darcy Does It podcast the other day, and she was calling it, I was hearing Habari Land. Habari Land was what I was hearing. So I was trying to Google. I'm like, oh my gosh, the sock that you're knitting is so, so cute. I want to know what yarn it is. I want to buy that yarn. And so I'm like on Instagram trying to like guess how to spell Habari Land. And I'm on Etsy trying to guess how to spell Habari Land. And I was so confused. And I went to Darcy's Instagram, and like she didn't have any like posts dedicated to it that I could find for such a long time. And then I was like, there was one that she had somewhere finally that I found it, and it's Haverland, not Habari Land or Havari Land. It's Haverland, Havir land. So anyway, it's so cute. Like this picture is not doing it justice. It's really a really adorable yarn. So I favorited that. I clearly don't need more yarn right now, and I also have over here, I have 2 full things of just self-striping yarn. So I don't need it, but it's an option. Okay, the 2 patterns that I bought for crochet that I don't know how to do, but hopefully I could figure out, are this little Pokeball little crochet thing, so cute, by Woman Walking a Wire. It's called, of course, Monsters Ball Granny Square. And then, this Soot Sprite Granny cardigan. Oh my god, this is speaking my name. Again, I don't know how to do any of this, but I would love to figure it out. Oh, so cool. So this is a much more expensive pattern than the other one. This was $15 for this, by Bagels Crafts. Yeah, so right now it says you can get 20% off using 20 bagels. So I think I only got 10% off yesterday. So, but happy to support designers. But yeah, I'm so excited for those 2. So I am looking forward to getting into that hopefully soon. Again, I'm not a great crocheter. I'm just like, I'm not an advanced crocheter. I'm not super skilled yet. And I don't know how to read patterns very well, but I have been noticing an increase of people in a couple of the Facebook crochet groups that I'm in, like asking for help reading a pattern. And so that's like an option for me to like be like, hey, can you help? Or like, you know, going to my local yarn store and asking them to help me read the pattern. This weekend, tomorrow, my dad's gonna watch Quinn for a few hours so we can go out. I think we're gonna get some Indian food. I've been really craving Indian food, but I don't know what we're gonna do after that for the next couple hours. Just chill. I think we're just gonna chill and just hang out. And then on Sunday, I'm meeting my sister and her kids, or like her family, and we are going to Sea Life at Mall of America. If you don't know, it is an indoor gigantic aquarium, which includes like a 300-foot like surround tunnel, all water, and it's celebrating Quinn's 6-month birthday, which is on Tuesday, I think, the 16th, and yeah, it'll be 13, 14, 15, no, Monday, and it'll be fun. I think he'll really like it, and he'll get a kick out of it, even though he's not old enough to really appreciate everything. I think that visually he'll really like it. He seems to really enjoy looking at water. So like we take him outside when it's raining. When we went to, he was only like 3.5 months old, when we went on vacation this year to, you know, a campground with a lake. He really enjoyed looking at the lake and being on the pontoon. So we want to give him those opportunities to like see water, even if he can't touch anything really. They do have like a hands-on, like you can touch like anemones and I think little baby stingray things, but I would be worried that he would crush everything. He does not know his own strength. But he might be able to splash in the water a little bit. I'd be fine with that. So that'll be fun this weekend. And then, yeah. I think that is about it. As I was saying, I'm literally right at the end, and then I got my notification that the iPhone storage was full. I forgot to delete last week's video, and I have thousands of pictures I still need to go through. But anyway, thank you so much for returning if you're a returning viewer, and thank you for checking me out if you're new. As I said, you can always find me on Instagram at Miss_LJV, or add me on Ravelry as Eventual. I do really keep my Ravelry updated because that's the only way I can keep track of when I did projects, and I love having pictures of them, and when people ask, I can show them. So anyway, I look forward to seeing you next week, and have a good week. Bye.